Hey guys, what's going on? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I think we're live now. We'll give it a few moments, and by a few moments, I mean 30, 60 seconds or so. And then we'll just get into it, guys. Hey, Joseph Seed, 1.7 billion, Gabe Guavin, Dawn Break, Mr. Outlaw Gaming, Veteran Hoffman, how you doing, buddy? Getting some members in the chat now. Amanda Jane, how you doing? McFarlane F1 Race, how's it going, buddy? Def Tony, hey, long time no see, Def Tony, how you doing, man? Alonzo Chubb, got you from Texas, nice to have you here, buddy. Let me know where you're watching from, guys. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. And welcome to the stream. Hey, Chris Supertramp, how you doing, buddy? Greetings from Iowa. Reading Upchurch, how's it going? 69 in the chat, 74 in the chat, 18 likes. Let's get the obvious up. Let's get the likes up, guys, before we get started. A little bit later tonight, but I've been sorting a few things out, and we're going to get into a few things today. Obviously, before we get into a little bit of admin, we've had the, let me take these off. We had the Victory Day speech from Putin, and I haven't watched it on purpose, or listened to it rather. And the reason being, I want to get into that on this stream. I think we might do a bit of a react to it. I don't know. I'll see if I can find something. Excuse me. And do a live kind of react. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, if you want to see me do like a live react to some of the Victory Day speech, we obviously got to be careful for obvious reasons. But I might look into it. Certainly going to look into a lot of articles today about the Victory Day speech. But that's pretty much going to be the main area, the main topic that I want to cover. Hey, you've got loads of people. Gabe, how are you doing? East Coast Canada. We got people from Mississippi, California, Sweden, Pennsylvania. We got Michigan, Nashville, Montreal, New Jersey, North Carolina, Denver, Fort Benning. That's cool, man. 16 years US Army vet here. Glad to watch live from Fort Benning. Eddie Junk Draw. Hey, man. One of my best mates is called Eddie, and he is still serving. He's crazy as hell. He's probably either drunk now or asleep or both. Arlington, Texas. I need to visit Arlington. I've heard so much about Arlington. In fact, I think one of my friends is there now. I think Original Human, Luke Gillens, is in Arlington, Texas now. I might be wrong with that. If anyone follows Luke, or Original Human as he's known, I believe he is in Texas. He's definitely in Texas. I'm pretty sure about that. We've got people from New York, Greece. We got Essex, England. Yes, Nick English. We got some English in the chat today. Alonzo Chubb, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis, my friend. Or as we say in the Corps, in the Royal Marines, Pemar Petarum, by sea, by land, all that good stuff. Troops, thanks for stopping by. We've got 87 in the chat at the moment, which is pretty good for 20 past 11 UK time. I can live with that. So if we can, everyone right now, do one thing for me. Smash the like button if you see it. If you don't, scroll down, bang, 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 press it. It literally takes 2 seconds to do. It costs you nothing. It's the easiest thing you can do to help out a YouTuber. I don't know if I can use the term small YouTuber anymore. Am I a small YouTuber? I don't know. 200. How many subscribers have I got now, actually? I don't even know how many subs I've got. Let me check quickly. I'll tell you the exact number. So on this channel, we got 237,135. 136, 138. So it's actually going up. It's going up as we speak, which is absolutely cool, man. Hey, 1.7 billion. Thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. Starting it off today, 1.7 billion. As always, actually, it seems to be you're quite a regular early super chatter. You're saying he is in Texas from what I last heard. Yeah. I thought he was in Texas. He isn't. Yeah, he's a good dude. Original Human. From my understanding, he's like the first Royal Marine to really get going on YouTube. He's like the first guy who pretty much, went from zero to boom. To my knowledge anyway, I might be wrong. So yeah, it wasn't for him, probably wouldn't be doing this, guys. Not going to lie. But there's plenty of us on YouTube now. I think it's pretty cool. Sam Bourne, how you doing? Nameless Entity. Chris Dunbar. Best clip of the day, the Russian ambassador to Poland. What happened with that? Simon says, yeah, I'm all good, my friend. You're saying, thanks for the coverage on Ukraine. Much love from the United States. Hey, it's my pleasure. It's the least I can do. Let's get real. I'm in a nice, comfortable, garage. It might not look like a garage, but this is a converted garage. But I'm comfortable. I'm warm. Gone are the days where I'm in the field, getting cold, wet, and miserable. Having epiphanies on my life on a regular basis, thinking, what the hell am I doing? I'm in a good privileged position, and I know that. I understand that. And some people aren't. So, hey, if you're in a decent position in life and you can do something, I'm not going to say I'm doing something about the Ukraine crisis, but I'm certainly trying my best to give awareness on a different perspective. That's all. I'm not trying to control a narrative at all. I'm just trying to give people a different set of eyes on the situation. I'm not an expert. Again, I'm not a historian. I did serve in the military. Does that make me an expert on all things military? Not necessarily, I know quite a bit about my own military. I know there's loads to learn still. But these things just give different eyes and ears to things. And I think it's important to broaden your horizons on things, on topics such as this one, because it divides a lot of people, and you just might not have... you just might need a different perspective on it to see it in a different light, if that makes sense. That's all I'm doing. Mark Everett, 92 degrees in Missouri and 100% humidity. God damn it. Chris Dunbar, he got showered in blood by protesters, the Russian ambassador. Seriously? That's horrendous. Horrendous. How's the stream look? How's the quality? I made a mistake the other day. I didn't realize I've been doing this for every single one of my videos since the start of YouTube, when I started using OBS, Open Broadcasting Software. I had a setting on which my OBS screen painted a different picture to what the actual stream looked like at your end, believe it or not. So it was actually quite a big mistake that I've been doing for a very long time until I actually figured it out, and then thought, hey, once I did figure it out, I was like, man, no wonder people are saying, well, this looks a bit whatever, but hopefully it looks good. And what I'm seeing is what you're seeing. I'm just going to check it out on YouTube myself, actually. So bear with. Here we go. Yeah, I can live with that. That looks pretty accurate to me. I'm liking that. That's cool, guys. Happy with that. Quality 1080p. Right, here's something that a lot of people, I don't think, do. If you're watching on your phone, right? If you're watching on your phone, if you click on the right-hand side, the three ellipses, I think that's what you call it. You go into quality at the top, you press on quality, and then you go into advanced, you press 1080p. You'll then see the stream in the highest format that I'm giving you. So I only stream in 1080, 60 frames. So believe it or not, a lot of people don't actually know that. But now you do. So if your stream looks pretty shitty most of the time when you're watching people, that's probably the reason why. El Trupios. Let me know in the chat before we get on. Let me know. Have you seen my new boxing channel co-hosted with me dad? It's his channel. It's his baby. All right. It's his thing. I'm the guy. I say the brains behind it. I'm the guy facilitating the ability for that channel to exist. But my dad is the main character, to be honest with you, and rightfully so. The man's hilarious. I've got such a good friend. It's a relationship, but friend. My dad's a friend, you know, which I think is the best thing for any father-son relationship. You got to be mates first, right? I get on with my dad like a house on fire. We've had our barmies in the past, but we just started this new venture together called Just Boxing. I'll put the link in the description in a second. Let me know. It's honestly, if you're not into boxing, that's fine. But I challenge you this: have a look. Have a look at the latest video I've put out. It's about 32 minutes long on that channel. And you tell me that the first 30 to 60 seconds isn't the greatest start to a podcast you've ever seen, because I'll challenge anyone to find a better start to a podcast than that video. honest to God, it was absolutely, it was hilarious, man. We had so much fun today. But anyway, I'll get a link before we get started so you can go and check it out, man. Because man, that it just needs some attention. It was hilarious. He's such a funny dude, but he's one of those guys who just is funny without trying to be funny, if that makes sense. Let me get this up. Here we go. This is awesome, man. Let me get this. All right, here we go. I'm putting the link in the chat now, right? I'll put it in a few times, so I'm spamming my own chat. There you go. Have a look whenever you want. Don't have to leave this stream, but have a look at that at some point. Put it in your. If you subscribe to the channel for later, but trust me, I generally think that channel. I don't know if it's going to be any bigger than this one, but it's got the potential to be massive because of my dad, Ian Patria. My dad is hilarious. He is, and when I say we are genuinely toning it right down, partially down to like a confidence thing. We need to get into it a little bit, all right? But trust me, give us a couple of more streams, and you'll see us. You'll see us really hitting our mark. What we can do. We get on. We've got a very funny kind of banter back and forth, me and my dad. And you got to see about 30 to 60 seconds of it today, and we're like that all day long. So just watch out when we start live streaming. We need 1,000 subscribers to be able to live stream to the channel. So we're about 610, 612 away from being able to do that. So yeah, crack on with that, and hopefully we can start live streaming you once we get 1,000 subs, guys. But who we got in the chat? We got quite a few members in the chat. Let me see. Actually, I put a comment. Right, so let me pin this. You don't have to, guys. But if you want to become a supporter of the channel, you want to support the channel a little bit more than you're already doing, which is fantastic, and I'm ever grateful, then you can become a member. If you want to become a member, I got to ask because I've got the ability to on the channel, which is I'm privileged. Let me know, and just become a member. Press the link above. Happy days. All right. Randy Adams Ryan just subbed to Dad's channel. Thank you, buddy. I want to get that channel like, I want to get that channel booming. You know, I think my dad has a real opportunity to become like quite a big personality on YouTube, because he's funnier than me. Together, me and him are quite funny, I would like to say, but he's funnier than me. Honestly, guys, yeah, I'll say enough about that, but go check that out. Roger Butler, hello from Texas. I've been watching for a couple of months. First text. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, my friend. Let's get you in the chat a little bit more regular, man. Good to see you guys. Let me know if you're brand new here, by the way. Let me know if this is your first time, second time, 10th time on the channel. I know we've got a few people who've been here quite a while now. What's the new channel about? Tom88. It's just boxing, it's called. So we talk just boxing, but knowing how me and my dad are, we'll start rambling and talk anything but. So it's a podcast, but honestly, man, it's cool. Hey, Aonixo Troops. I've just highlighted his name there. This is a current serving U.S. Marine. Believe he's a sergeant. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marine. Eonixo is also on YouTube. Fantastic channel. Massive fan. Go check this dude out. It's your duty to do so. McFarlane F1 Race. Hey, Ryan, have you watched the BKFC Thailand? No, what is it? What is that? Nameless Entity's first time on the stream. Dysfunctional Veterans. I think I have. I think I've checked that out before. Can't remember the last time. Chris Robinson, first live stream, first comment. I've been a subscriber and viewer for a few months. Well, good to see you, hey, buddy. I bet there's loads of people who watch you don't comment. I used to be that guy, actually, but I just comment on every channel now. Sam Bourne, I watch the YouTube Never Online for the live streams. Well, cool. Okay, Troop, so how it normally works, it doesn't have to work this way. We change it up from time to time. Anyone who watches the channel will understand that. But as a custom, if you wanna support the channel, there's a number of ways to do it. Okay, and the live streams are kind of made for that. That's why I do them, because this is my full-time job. Okay, now if the most important thing that you can do is just view the content. I'm appreciative of you being here. If you want to smash the like, then that was massively helpful too. If you don't, hit the dislike. All right, you got to be honest. Or if you don't want to do either, then that's fine. If you want to become a member, link is in the description. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to become a member, your chance to interact with me on a more personal basis, just the way it goes. If you want to ask a question that's really pertinent and you think, I need to get to the top of the queue, so to speak, there is a way you can do that. If you super chat, anyone who super chats anything from 1 pence to $100,000, all right, you guys will tip the top of the queue. It's just how it works. And that's that. But from time to time, if I see something catch my eye, as you know, if you've been watching for a while, I'll highlight the comment, just like this one. Boom, Mars Ronan. I've been a member, but life's complications have kept me away for a while. Back now and training for a selection course. Well, I hope you're back and good, and your health is all well, my friend. Good to see you back here, Mars Ronan, as a member as well. Happy to have you here. Mrs. Teacup, hey, how you doing, man? Harry Mancuso, butchered that. Happy, haven't popped in for a while. You see the Russian state TV threatened the UK. Is that right? So is that that's from a while ago, isn't it? Are you talking about the nuclear thing to they did like a simulation of what a thermonuclear weapon system would be like if it was detonated under the ocean, and it would cause like an alleged 500-meter tidal wave. Is that what you're talking? Because that's a load of horse obvious as far as I'm concerned. It's already been debunked that you would need a hell of a lot more megatons compared to what they've already got in a nuclear weapon system to be able to do that in the first place. So if it's that what you're talking about, then yeah, I've seen that one. Hey, Sam Bourne, first member of the stream. Welcome to Gendit Members Club, my friend. Proud to have you on board, buddy. Now and again, I'll drop a comment for members only. So yeah, welcome to the team, my friend. Good to have you aboard. Back in the core now. Chris Frederick, Dit Commando, you're someone I'd like to go fishing with and have a beer or 12. If we don't catch any fish, we'd catch a buzz. Awesome, man. My brother-in-law's trying to get me to go fishing. Never been fishing in my life. That's really bad. Get some F's in the chat. Actually, sorry, I tell a lie. I did a survival course as part of commando training, where we had to hunt. Hunt. We learned how to humanely kill and eat fish and rabbits and stuff like that in a survival situation. We were starving as well. We'd been purposefully, I don't want to say starved because you're not starved in the military, but you put on a bit of a hunger period right after I think it was a 12-mile insurgent. Then we got our kit took off us, and then that was it. We were on a survival exercise, and we were starving. We had to coot rabbits and stuff. Best and worst rabbit I've ever tasted in my life at the same time. It was boiled, which tasted like, it did taste like shit, but you were that starving, it tasted great, if that makes sense. Hey, Chris Robinson, thank you for your super chat. You're saying prayers for the innocent people in Ukraine. Yeah, and I'll add. I agree, and I'll just add to that as well. Prayers for anyone innocent involved in war. It saddens me that we can have individual leaders cause so much turmoil for a collective amount of people that have nothing really to do with that political agenda. It's like, let's use innocence as our tools for war. And I have a massive problem with that. You know, I think many people would think that I've got a different opinion having served in the military, but I generally believe anyone who's served will understand that our thought patterns might not be quite in line with what public opinion thinks. Mine certainly isn't. It never has been. I didn't pretend for it to be when I was serving actively. You know, I don't think be patriotic, but being patriotic doesn't mean you have to be a sheep and follow a narrative that you haven't really looked into too much. If you looked into a lot of war and a lot of reasons behind wars, you would form a different opinion on whether or not you want to be there or not, whether or not you're happy to serve there and stuff like that. And I know I get a lot of my information from veterans, lads who's been there and done it. I've worked as a civilian mainly, believe it or not, with a lot of people, some of which served in the Fultons, one of which I had the pleasure of talking to for a few occasions, who, you know, was one of very few men, like a section strength of men, who stormed to the top of Mount Longdon in the Falklands. And hearing their individual stories, and then collecting all of that data, so to speak, in my brain, I come to the conclusion that every single one of them were proud to serve, patriotic to the country, but none of them agreed with the reasons they were there. You know, and another thing I found very common in all of them was their younger self thought very differently to what their 10, 15, 20-year older version of themselves think. And that's the key, I think, to all of this. If you could have a bit of insight into what you might think like cognitively, emotionally, in 10, 20 years' time, then you might act very differently in the present, i.e. now. And it doesn't just happen in the military. Loads of influential organizations that require influential young minds to complete tasks use the same kind of marketing strategy, the same kind of advertisement strategy, the same type of pull you in, the capture that, the fact that you're hormonal. That might sound like, well, I know that's a load of shit, but yeah, they do. The young male mind in the military is a very easily led tool, and that tool can be used for war. And I don't know, when I look back and I think I was the exact same. Lacked empathy a lot more then than I do now. And empathy is something that, although it can be a product of how much empathy you've got, it can be a product of your childhood. It's something that I believe can be nurtured, and you've got to wait until your brain's fully matured to see where you're fully at with regards your empathy levels and stuff. And mine's definitely went through the roof since leaving the military and as I've got older. But I guess we could get all scientific on that, you know. There's various different opinions on this, but there's a common opinion that our brains don't mature. Our brains are fully grown in and around 25, but that doesn't mean it's fully matured. Now, maturity in men and women differ. Women, on average, their brains fully mature in terms of their maturity levels at about 22. males is in and around 30. So you think about that, and honestly, if I could look back in time, I'm 34 nearly now. I do kind of see how that can be. A 20-year-old, 25-year-old, still quite immature, still quite impressionable, egotistic, lacked empathy for certain things to a degree. In around 30, things started to change. Started to think a little bit differently about war. Started to think a little bit differently about my life choices. And yeah, it's strange, guys. Going down a little bit of a different path with this stream early on, but I just wanted to give you a bit of insight into my thoughts on things, and how I think. We can go a little bit more in depth with that if you want to. Just let me know in the chat. 17 billion, appreciate you, dude. Again with the super chats. You're saying politics will probably be what ends humanity. It's food for thought, that's for sure, buddy. Thank you for your super chat. Hey, Eric, welcome to the Gendered Members Club. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. It's very kind of you to help me out that way. I appreciate it, man. McLaren F1 race, you're saying, Will, say, Ryan, your audio quality is on point. Good quality microphone there so we can hear you speak common sense. Kudos to you. Oh, thank you, buddy. I've got a long way to go with understanding all of this stuff that I'm actually doing. But there's one thing for sure. I am trying my best to give you decent looking videos and decent sounding. I do need more soundproofing in the room. As you can hear, there's a bit of a reverb, but I am in a garage, and what you see behind me is the only furniture in here. Okay, so that's just the way it goes. But we constantly strive. And if you look at my first video, if you click onto my videos and then click on the filter and type oldest video, my videos were absolute garbage, man. Absolute garbage, So I'm thankful that I've learned a lot, 700 videos, 750 videos or whatever we've got. Baron Hoffman, what are you saying? Depends on why the war is being fought for me. Going after Al-Qaeda and Taliban anywhere was a wide support. 9/11 justified to me. Iraq, on the other hand, I didn't. Yeah, fair plays to you, my friend. A very valid point as well. It all depends on... It's an individual thing, isn't it? It's where you're at now, I think. Where you're at now. Are you happy to be there? That kind of stuff. Sambone, remember... You're saying, I just hit 36, I'm slowing down, changing how I think about stuff. Yeah, you do think about stuff differently. Irvin Scott, what you're saying, proving life and love exists. We shouldn't have been in Vietnam or the Gulf. We don't need to police the whole goddamn world. Oh, we don't need to police the whole goddamn... Well, yeah, the thing is, though, I can see what you're saying, but the last part, I'll kind of disagree, because... as a human species, we always now there's some weird science in this. I think it goes back to when we were... Where did I watch this from? I can't remember if it was on Joe Rogan or something, and one of the scientists on there was talking about it. I think it was that, talking about how we need order and structure, and through that structure and order, there will always be a hierarchy based on where we come from, where we've evolved from. And I think it's like the sea life or something. It's something to do with that way back when, how that structure and order and hierarchies existed within our genetic kind of background since the start. And it kind of links into our human way of thinking and doing things, irrespective of how we feel or think. We will always, always, always be in the pursuit of a structure and a hierarchy. So we might dislike it in many ways, but in many ways it's built in us to have a hierarchy, and there'll always be some form of hierarchy. And when you get hierarchy, you get corruption. When you get corruption, people get hurt. So I think we're going to be It's a bit like the war on terrorism. What you're actually fighting, you're fighting an ideology. If you fight an ideology, you'll never be able to stop it, because you can't stop the way people think unless you control every brain on the planet. It's the same as that, isn't it? Really, does that make sense? Mac Cumhill, Jordan Peterson, Lobsters. That's the one. You literally read my mind. Did you watch that, Mac? It was pretty good. Was it a Joe Rogan podcast? He was talking about it. You know something, right? About Jordan B. Peterson. I absolutely love that man. Well, he knows how powerful he is and influential for the male. All right, for the male audience, he's really, really good for those who maybe's lacked that male figure growing up, and maybe's lacked that confidence in themselves as a male. And that man really has helped out potentially millions of males, finding themselves. What a guy he is. I genuinely read into a lot of his work. I've read a couple of his studies and stuff, and I've become really, really obsessed with it, to the point of which I found that I've actually got a bit of a liking to psychology now. I wish I was a little bit more intellectual and my IQ is a bit higher, because that, if there was ever a subject I would like to study and become good at, not to utilize in a medical capacity as work or employment, I would like to just have it in my arsenal, in my brain, in the back burner, to be able to use that information within social interactions and around generic, just to have that information. I would love to learn psychology, that because of him. But you've got to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And unfortunately, at 33, 34, studying and having having many... Look, guys, I've got every symptom of ADHD under the sun. And studying in my head, I could be prolific at something if I'm completely focused on it. But staying and remaining focused on something is really, really hard for me. Not saying that it would be impossible. I'm not a defeatist in that way, but you've got to be realistic and understand your strengths and weaknesses. And unless there's some kind of physical element to learning, I struggle massively. Chris, right? We're going off, well, not off topic. We're just chatting as well. We can do whatever we want, can't we? You're saying you studied psychology to figure out what was wrong with me. Well, I actually interested in psychology because I'm very self-critical and self-analytical. I analyze everything I do, and I'll reflect on everything I do as well. Now, I don't know what that is or why that is, but I'll have an interaction with someone, mainly a conversation, and post-interaction, post-conversation, I'll find myself analyzing my words, the way I worded things, how I might have made that person feel or think, how I feel, and I'll always get to the point of where I'll feel guilty about my interaction with that person, even if it was about something really, really good. I don't know why I do that. I always do that. I've done that from a very young age. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Does anyone else do that in the chat while we're here? We need to we need to create a different channel for this kind of stuff. This is a different type of talking. Brett Timlet, the thing is not to overanalyze yourself. Yeah, but for me, it's like telling water not to be wet. It's like I know that's the case, but my brain does that on autopilot. That's what I do. I'll actually, after this stream, be analyzing this very part of this conversation. Humans were a bit, I don't know, strange human beings. But troops, if you don't mind smashing that like button, I'd appreciate it, man. Elephant Boy, did you watch the new Royal Marine documentary? No, not yet. Not yet. I can't. With things like that, I'm very proud of where I come from, and I sometimes see through the advertisement, and I'll probably look at that documentary on the Royal Marines and have a lot to say and a lot to disagree with, and everything. Be like, I don't know, without saying, well, no, there's nothing wrong in this. I'll be honest with you, right? The do we have to include everyone if everyone wasn't involved? And I'm not going to get into this too deep. I'll just put it that way. Should we include everyone if everyone wasn't involved? Think about that for a second. Now, the Royal Marines had to include everyone, even though everyone wasn't involved, just in case they upset a very small portion. You know, do you know where I'm going with that? And that's why I was like, oh man, I'm not watching this. It's all, it's already a little bit. I don't know. Adam R finally caught you live. Hey, buddy. Chris Robinson, when will you be reviewing the Putin video? Thanks for reminding us, actually. I might start getting into it in the next couple of minutes, to be fair. See what questions are coming in. Old Ways Rising Farm. That constant overanalyzing of yourself is called masking amongst the neurodiverse community. Right. So why do I do that? Old Ways Rising Farm. Don't be afraid to offend me. Because that's fine. I accept that there's probably many things not right with me. You know? Jake Cal, Ohio. I would like to know your opinion on the current Royal Marines kit. Okay, I'll be honest. I've got friends still serving. So it looks like everyone's got the best of kit. That's not the case. My friends said, and a lot of my friends are like, yeah, we've, instead of getting like a pay rise or whatever, they ended up getting new kit. And even though they didn't choose that, and that new kit, they only got issued like one pair. And so not everyone has got the latest Gucci kit that you see. And if they do get issued it, it's not really theirs. It's like a hand you in thing once you've utilized it. So people are still rocking about in old stuff as well. Not everyone's got it all. So don't believe everything you see in the news type thing. Does that make sense? Old Ways Rising. Trauma response from rejection from others is what most people cite as a cause for masking. Yeah, that's me. I was speaking about this the other day, actually. I don't know why rejection is a massive thing, but that is something that would bother me a lot. Still to this day, actually, but it appears in different ways now, not necessarily from other people, but if it's someone I know and I feel as if even if they're not doing that specifically, it can incite anger. Actually, it's a strange one, isn't it? Trauma response. I don't know why. I think getting punched in the head as a young lad in amateur boxing might have something to do with it. That's another thing. I don't think should be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if boxing. Yeah, well, getting hit in the head's not great, is it? You know. Hey, Red Dome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Red Dome. Vic Diaz. Right, guys. Actually, Always Rising Farm. It is a thing for ADHD and ASD have rejection sensitive dysphoria. Yeah, well, I'm not I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, but I've been indirectly diagnosed by a very credible source. So, and anyone that knows us knows I've got it. I can be massively productive at weird times. Hence the reason it's midnight UK time and I'm wide awake. And I seek stimulants as well. So pre-workout powders, coffees, all of that kind of stuff. actually do the opposite for me than what they would do for the non-ADHD person. They actually calm me down, put me on the level, make my brain think normal for a very small period of time. It makes me feel pretty on the level, believe it or not. It doesn't really give me that spike in hyperactivity. If anything, it calms it down. Weird that, innit? So yeah, give me an energy drink all day long. I'm happy I can go to sleep on an energy drink. Veteran Hoffman, back in, say, 1985, our kit altogether weighed around 120 to 180 pounds. Yeah, back in the day, man. I've carried a few Bergens above 120 pounds. Not nice. Not nice, troops, trust me. Different kettle of fish, man. A-Team Skeptic, how you doing, buddy? Always raising farm. It's pretty common for ADHD, honestly. I didn't know that. It's interesting to know. But I'll be honest with you, would I change that? And we'll get into the Ukraine stuff very soon. But in terms of ADHD and everything, I generally think, and I've heard a few people say this now, it kind of, once if you can manage your isms effectively, I generally think I've got the edge on people with many things. I don't know if that's like an egotistical side of me or what, but I think when it comes to having to stay awake or to see a task, not necessarily through to the end, because I like to start loads of different tasks, but if it becomes like an endurance thing where it's like, right, I need to do something, I need to stay up the longest, or I need to, whether I can run the fastest, I'm going to continue trying to, I don't know, endurance, stay awake, do something pretty stupid, crazy, long hours, whatever, then I'm your man, I can get it done. That's me. So it's worked out for me. I can stay up late, I can be productive late, I can survive on little sleep, I can be buzzing straight away when I wake up. I've got a million ideas in my head. As long as there's people around me who can see tasks through, I'm the guy to get tasks going. I'm the guy to get new tasks going, problem solver, solution finder, that kind of thing, energy, boom, boom, boom. That's how it is. But I think you've got to utilize your isms effectively. That's what I would say. A-Team Skeptic, ADHD as well. I wonder if it's a YouTube thing. We all seem to get on here. Right, this is my last thing I wanted to say before we get into Ukraine. Kevin Samuels. Is anyone in the chat aware of a man called Kevin Samuels? Surely, if you guys know who Jordan Peterson is, Jordan B. Peterson, you must know who Kevin Samuels is, right? Please tell me you know who he is. And have you heard the news? I was gutted, man. Like, seriously, properly gutted. Let me know in the chat. Veteran Hoffman, no. Mate, you've missed out. Well, I suppose you're not going to be too sad then, really, about the news. Never heard of him. Oh, guys, you haven't heard of him. He's Kevin Samuels. Have a look on the internet after this. Hey, I can't pronounce your name. Maharam00Ma. You're saying, do you ever think about how media coverage around weapon systems is basically free advertisement? Not to say I think it's bad, but I'm sure they consider that. Absolutely, they consider that. Let's talk about that, actually. I can give you some information on what I think of that now. Right, this is a real good topic, guys. That's a great question. Thanks for the super chat as well. These are the type of questions we want on the stream tonight, guys. Let's get more of these in. So, and I'll just speak for, I'm not going to say the Army, the Royal Marines, the Navy, all right? I'll just say we in the military, and I think most superpowers of the world will do this. We'll go to certain areas of interest on training, and we'll train, and it'll be as expected. The troops on the ground will be excited because we're getting to go to a new country, a new place, a place that we haven't been before, doing some pretty cool stuff, jumping out of helicopters, firing weapons, throwing grenades, climbing mountains, doing all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, we get to have a few beers and we go home after a few weeks or months. In our head, we'll have been trained to be more effective soldiers, to be more efficient in our fire teams, better parts of our sections, making our troops stronger, allowing the company to progress and get trained to a better standard, making you better for whatever unit or regiment you pertain to. You got the ticks in the box. But on a government level, you've ticked that box really easy. Just get used to do that, okay? Boom. Trust the military, so to speak. But on the other side, the countries in which you're probably going to, let's say they aren't in NATO, for instance, or they're not in the European Union, and they want to be. And this isn't like a bad thing either. This is just how it is. Then you're over there showcasing not only your skill set, but the weaponry in which your skill set is orientated around. So think about it for a second. Country wants to get into NATO, or you wants to get into the EU. You've got guys who are in NATO and the EU showcasing you these weapon systems, performing really, really well. Well, hey, guess what? If you buy, I don't know, 5 million, 10 million pounds worth of weapons from us, these weapons, because these are the ones we use, this is the kit we use, this is the body armor we use, this is the helmet we use, your organization, your military group will look more organized. You'll be able to just be like, you'll be just like us. And you might have a chance of becoming part of European Union. You might have a better chance of getting in NATO, because you seem to be buying weapon systems and kit and equipment and accepting certain training from a country that's in it and is quite an influential country indeed. So that's how it works. It's all advertisement for weapons because it makes a lot of money. Now, what's your thoughts on that? So to answer your question highlighted on the screen, do you ever think about how media coverage around weapon systems is basically free advertisement? Yes, I do. I understand it. I've been in and around it to a degree. You might be there doing something worthwhile, but at the same time, it might be a sales pitch, and is there anything wrong with that? Not. I'll let you guys decide. I'm not saying there is, but, like you're saying not to say I think it's bad, but I'm sure they consider it. Yeah, I think they do. I think they do consider it. And thank you again for another super chat. You're saying react to the Vice video of Sofx. You'd like it. I haven't done a proper reaction video for a while, like an old school reaction video. What are you saying? Vic Diaz, hey, Commando, what do you think of the US new infantry rifle? Excuse me. Well, I believe it's a carbine variant, isn't it? The thing is, we talked about this the other day. Weapon systems, right? Rifles and stuff like that. We're changing from longer range weapon systems holistically within sections and troops to not necessarily shorter range, but its effective range might be less by 100 or 200 meters, the carbine variants, but very, very accurate still. And think about like Afghanistan, Iraq, like those guys, your weapon system went up to 300 meters, you're good. You're all right. You got your snipers and your marksmans to go a little bit further than that, and your support weapons, i.e. your GPMGs, your LMGs, your machine guns, that type of thing. Heavy weaponry. So what do you need? Something more accurate, more maneuverable, more agile, something that you can get into small confined spaces with and go through a room clearance more effectively over your opposed shoulder, and they're starting to actually think, we can get in vehicles more effectively. We can carry lighter weapons. We can get in and out of situations better. we're not as big a target because our weapon system's closer to our body. Loads of different perks of having a smaller weapon system. So I think it's a good move. If the US are doing it, then yeah, it makes sense. The Brits, we've done it for a while since having the SA-80. The SA-80 is a small weapon system. The Royal Marines don't use it anymore, but we've got an even smaller weapon now. It's just better all round, guys, I think. So that answers your question, hopefully. Hey, Monster Riggs, thank you very much for your super chat, brother. I appreciate that so much. You're asking, what do you think Russia will do when Ukraine starts to take back Crimea? Well, that's yet to be foreseen, isn't it? That's yet to happen. So let's just go with the narrative that that does happen. I think it puts them under even more pressure. We've already seen, and let's have a look at this, right? I'll show you guys. Let's have a look at this. So if you have a look at the map here, right? Let me know if you can see that okay, guys. Thanks for your question, Monster Riggs. We'll get into this. So this here, obviously got your Kiev here, like north central. It was heavily red, or at least there was a lot more red there. A few weeks, 1 month ago, a little over a month ago, right? The focus was to just, let's see if we can slam bam and get the Kiev capital in a wanna. Didn't happen. Retreated, used the rest of their remaining forces or alleged remaining forces and pushed them heavily east. All right. In the south, as you can see, that southern region from Mariupol all the way over to the west here is that amount of red has grown rapidly. It was only like last week, I believe, or the week before, they weren't over this river yet, and now they are. To get over a water feature as big as that, you've got to be doing pretty well amidst all of the news articles and stuff. You can't just take land like that. You know, there's not very many vulnerable points here. So you've got one major bridge, it looks like, there. To be able to get over that and dominate that land like that, you've got to be putting a lot of weaponry and a lot of resources in. So to answer your question, Russia's strained because Kiev failed, right? Let's face it. Whether they'll be back for another fight, I don't know, but they put a lot of their resources to the east and the south, gradually taking and winning little amounts of land and holding it as well. So, to take Crimea, it's going to strain, to put your resources in Crimea, it's going to strain them even further. But I don't know, man. I know the news will paint a picture, but I'm trying to look at it logically as I can think. Now, we have to look at it as playing devil advocate here. We have to look at it, maybe they're not doing quite as bad as what everyone would think they're doing. That's the reason I'm thinking that way, is because I don't want to get caught out with the thought pattern of thinking that Ukraine's just smashing them. I hope that that's the case. I hope that Ukraine is doing fantastic, all right, so that people can, live free again. But it might not be that way. It might not be as close to that as we think. It might still be pretty dominant via Ukraine, but it might not be as dominant as we think. So, yeah, I don't think it's just a matter of, let's put our troops in Crimea and take it back. I think there's a lot more to it than that, if that makes sense. Victor Garul, hey buddy, how you doing, man? Good to see you. You're saying a carbon hybrid rifle was made, but it wouldn't hold up to the heat generated from firing the rifle multiple times. I'm guessing you're on about I guess you're still talking about the US Army rifle. Almost 9 pounds and uses 6.851. Wow. So lighter, not just lighter munition as well. I'm all for it. Have the US Marines taken on that weapon system? I think they have, haven't they? Anyway, let's have a little bit of a map study while we're on this. McFarlane, do you still chat with Theo, the US Marine, Ryan? You used to do amusing reaction vids with him. I do from time to time. Theo's a very, very busy individual. He's an active servant soldier. So, yeah, Theo's literally one of the nicest guys I've never met. And hopefully one day I get to meet him. I think I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll meet him one day. If you go over to his channel, tell him I said hi. He's such a nice dude, man. Theo is like literally 1 in a million. Trust me, guys. He's such a nice dude, that guy. Almost to the point it's crazy to think he's a Marine, because he's a real hard ass, at the same time. But he's a nice guy, real nice guy. He'd do anything for you as well. Help you. He's helped me out a lot on YouTube with different things. What you're saying, it is unlikely they retake Crimea. Yes, they could threaten it, but taking it back is not likely. I would like to think that. I think that's logic. I think that's logic as well, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. Team Skeptic, you're saying my brother retires at the end of this month, 24 years in. He will never see this, but I'm proud of him. Wow. Hey, maybe he will. You should be proud. 24 years in is something special. Was that the Army or the Marines? What was he in? Right, let's have a look at this bad boy then. Right, so what's going on the map? Have a look at the south. 9 hours ago, a Russian pontoon bridge was destroyed near that region. I'm not gonna. Why have they got a submarine there then? Russian Defense Ministry announces the deployment of battleships carrying caliber missiles in the Black Sea. Right, what are these things? What are these bad boys? Wow, okay. How many caliber missiles does Russia have? Performance in recent wars has been dismal, of 26 caliber fires at targets in Syria, 4 landed in Iran, which is different country. Russian forces are increasingly reported to dumb bombs instead. What? Right, what's this? So the 3M54 caliber, also referred to as that, is a family of Russian cruise missiles developed by the Novator Design Bureau. There are ship-launched, submarine-launched, and air-launched versions of the missile, and variants for anti-ship, anti-submarine, and land attack use. Right, flight altitude 50 to 150, whatever, 20 meters above water. Engine multi-stage solid. Right, so it's a turbo engine. What? Solid fuel rocket. How far does it go? That's the thing. It's accurate to 3 meters, and it can be launched by a sea. Makes this thing pretty phenomenal. Right, I want to have a look at some of the articles. Putin uses Victory Day speech to rehash a list of grievances against West. Right, let's have a look at this. Hey, X-Broly, how you doing, buddy? Right. Putin uses Victory Day speech to rehash a list of grievances against West. 2 presidents and 2 speeches for Victory Day from Vlad Putin in Moscow and Zelensky in Kiev. Both presidents talked more about the present day than the past. Both insisted their enemies today were the heirs of the Nazis, and both promised their countries would succeed in what they both said was a defensive war. Right, hang on a minute. How can he say it's a defensive war when he's invaded a country? Someone put that logic in the chat for me. Like, I don't get that logic. Let me know, because that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. was a defensive war. How can you be in defense of something when you are actively the aggressor within a country? That doesn't, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. However, the similarities between the two addresses by Putin and Zelensky came to an end. The first difference was stylistic. Putin was surrounded by the pomp and militarism of the annual Red Square parade, riffing on a topic he had been angry about for years. Zelensky strolling along Kiev's main street and delivering a casual but impassioned speech straight into the camera. Cut a very different figure, as he has since the start of the war. Yeah, it's a strange one, this, because Zelensky's been put into a position where either he gives in to the demands and then he allegedly keeps the people free, and he stops all of this suffering. But should it really all be on him to stop the suffering? It's like, well, look, you've got a bully coming over bullying you. To stop the bullying, you just have to give in to his demands. It's like, well, it's not the best way to go on, is it? Do you know what I mean? I know there's going to be mixed opinions on this. Mixed opinions, big time. But hey, what do you think, guys? Let's get some chats in the go. So stylistic differences. But the main difference was that for most people existing beyond the reach of Russian state television, Zelensky arguments were likely to be a lot more convincing than Putin's. Okay. Putin has long used his 9 May speeches to draw parallels between the Second World War and the present day. And this year's speech was nothing new, simply a compilation of previous grievances that were recycled and intensified for this year, when his army is fighting a new war. But the images from that war, seen across the world, have made Putin politicization of the Soviet wartime sacrifice even less convincing. I've never been able to pronounce that word properly. Politicization. I believe that is what it is. I'm not very good at pronouncing that word. I do apologize for that. We got in the chat. Nothing coming through yet. It's all good, guys. If you don't mind smashing the like button for me, I would really, really appreciate it. If you just joined the chat, welcome, guys. Yeah. I appreciate you guys for being here. And I've lost where I was at now. Where are we? Convincing the Putin, blah, 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 blah. But the images from the war seen across the world have made Putin's politicization of the Soviet wartime sacrifice even less convincing. Putin used the Victory Day podium to reel off a list of grievances against the West that seemed to describe his own regime more aptly. He made reference to cancel culture, complaining that so-called traditional values had been cancelled, despite the fact his regime has arrested people for Facebook posts and shut down numerous newspapers for calling the war in Ukraine a war and not a special military operation. You know something? It's. We've spoken about this before. These leaders are cowards. They should bear arms. They should not allow anyone else to get involved. And they should fight each other as individuals. Individual leaders against individual leaders. You guys fight it out. To the death if need be, whatever you want. Let's, have a gladiator fight. Do what you want. Have a boxing fight. Putin versus Jake Paul. Get in there. But don't send people utilizing your military as a tool of war, as a tool for your political agenda to be able to do the fighting for you. How many innocent people, think about this, right? Let me know if you agree with this in the chat. How many people think that if remember the days of old, kings of the countries would fight in battle, they'd be the first in, man. Get in there. You got a problem, get in. You don't see Putin or anyone on horseback. You don't see him in the tanks. You don't see him yielding a sword or a weapon system going. I'm a man of my word, man of conviction. I'm going to get stuck straight in because I truly believe what I'm saying is correct. If he believed anything that he was saying, he would get in there. But he's protected. He's protected by the establishment. He's protected by the people surrounding him. He is what Putin means something different in a few countries in different languages. Doesn't take too long to research what Putin means in many different places. And he is really. He's just a Putin. Or Putin. That's what it is. Carol Hamilton, Two Tribes Go to War. Love that tune. What else we got on the chat? Corey Steegs, yeah, it's a very good point. The very thing that he didn't want, he's actually created. The very thing that he didn't want, he's actually created the opposite effect. He's actually created the opposite of what he intended. I mean, how you think about it? If you were thinking about joining NATO, an invasion of a country near to your border would be the perfect reason for you to make your mind up a lot quicker. So he was interested in wanting to push back that NATO curtain, which was getting ever so close to his border. And by doing so, what he did is invade a country in which NATO was encroaching on, but by doing so, he put himself closer to NATO. Do you understand? Like, he wanted the border, he wanted this, notionary NATO border pushed further back. So what Putin did was, right, it's getting closer to Ukraine. We can't have them on our doorstep. So let's invade Ukraine, make that our new doorstep, and hey, well, we're even closer now. So the effect hasn't worked out really. But because he's closer, these countries who are in a bit of a an examination of whether they should or shouldn't join NATO are now thinking, bloody hell, he's just steamrolled into Ukraine. You know what? Hey, can call a mates in NATO. Can he get us in? Get us in, mate. You know how? Come on, speed it up. Boom, boom, boom. Right, Finland might be joining. Sweden might be joining. There's a couple of other countries in the region thinking, hey, can we speed this up? So the desired effect hasn't really worked out for him. It's crazy. Corey Steegs, yeah, Finland has more border with Russia than Ukraine. It doesn't make sense, all of this, does it really? But it's funny that he's done that. And he's caused a lot of problems. He's definitely, irrespective of what happens, whether he, I don't know what winning or losing looks like in this situation, but let's just go with, let's say he loses. He will be isolated. Russia will be isolated. Sanctions will remain. It'll no longer be able to fit into society the way it did before, albeit it was quite a silent kind of character on the planet anyway. There was an undertone with Russia of not really wanting to be on the team, was it? They're definitely going to be on the backbench now after this. And if they win, everyone's just going to hate that idea even more. So, Ramon, what you're saying about sanctions alone will not allow them to build modern weapons. He will soon drop world powers. The thing is with sanctions, we've talked about this before. Who are the sanctions affecting right now? Are they affecting Putin? Are they affecting him specifically? They're affecting you, they're affecting me. My fuels went up ridiculous amounts. Energy prices have went up. Went up 6 months before the invasion. Work that one out. I don't know. Work that one out. They predicted this. How can they predict? I don't know. Maybe we're getting into deep territory here. But yeah, everything's went up. So they're affecting me. I've got nothing to do with the Russian-Ukraine war. Neither most people watching this, probably all of yous. It's like, how are we getting more? Are we getting affected more than anyone else? I mean, allegedly, Putin has made money from the sanctions because the price of oil and stuff has went up. So he's making dollar, man. He's making big dollar. And then you got countries like India buying quite a lot off them. They had a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if there's been any further developments on it ever since. India bought a massive amount of oil or gas or one or the other or both, worth a lot of money. So there's still money being made, a lot of it, which is crazy. That the perpetrator seems to be earning money and everyone else seems to be getting, I don't know, getting stung by it, if that makes sense. Right, what's in the chat? Tommy88, India loves Russia. Jacob, your prices went up because of Chinese germ warfare, and we did nothing about it. Don't understand what you're saying. Germ warfare? What's that? Carol, we are allowing the unaffected to dictate what is happening. Couldn't agree more. Oh, Butte, I never normally disagree with you. Actually, no, there's nothing to disagree about. You're just stipulating that India loves Russia. It does seem to be the case. What do you think about Russia stepping up on violating Finland's airspace? I think they're doing it as a bit of a scaremongering tactic. Will it work? Time will tell. They obviously don't want them to. Look, they're going to threaten them whether they're in NATO or out of NATO. It's just a bullying tactic, you know. I think Finland and Sweden have learned the hard way with regards to Russia. You just have to look back 60, 70 years ago, a little bit more, to understand why. So as a result, the infrastructure in Finland and Sweden, especially when it comes to countermeasures, defense measures to protect country, pretty cool, pretty advanced, pretty dangerous. So I think they've got a lot of provisions in place to stop the threats going into the extreme. But that would only work for so long due to the size of Russia. But let's face it, we're not trying to talk heroically here, we're just talking logically, because it's in both of their interests. If you mess with Finland, you really are messing with Sweden as well. Messing with Sweden, kind of messing with Norway, you're messing with all three of those, and that's a bad story, you know. And then you're encroaching closer to the United Kingdom's waters and airspace, so you're probably starting to mess with them as well. So very, very quickly you can get yourself into a situation where you might be threatening one close by neighbour, but then 3, 4, 5 other countries as a result will start jumping on you. And we've seen the world condemns what's going on. So the fact that the world is condemning what's going on means that, you know, if there's a bully in school, it doesn't take too long. When one person stands up, another will stand up, and then that's it. It's the effect continues, and it continues at a quicker pace. So they can only go on so long pissing people off before everyone starts going, you know what, who is this? Let's just all stop this, all right? And by default, people start putting their hands up, you know? That's what I think anyway. But what do I know? I'm just a guy in a garage talking to a microphone. McLaren, hey Ryan, why haven't the porn ad spammers happened on here yet? It's terrible. Well, I've had loads of them on the other channels, but I literally just report them straight away. You know, so I'm pretty much all over the porn spammers. Bang, hidden, bang, blocked, bang, reported. We don't mess about. You know what I mean? Donald Myers, don't mess with the Vikings. Right. Let me have a look. Just searching for something, guys. Hey, Mrs. Teacup. Thank you very much for your super chat. You're saying, do you find it interesting that Ukraine will get the NATO weapons, which is what they wanted to start with before the war? Right. Do you find it interesting that Ukraine will get the NATO weapons, which is what they wanted to start with before the war? Trying to understand your question. So they wanted them weapons before the war started. Do I find it interesting that Ukraine will get those weapons? Are you meaning post when they've joined NATO? Is that what you mean? I guess the word interesting isn't what I would use. I would go. It would be expected. It's as expected. Does that make sense? That's the way I would put it. Yeah, it's yeah, as expected. I would expect that to happen. Hopefully that answers your question, Teacup. Black Sheep 214, thank you for the 5. I appreciate it. Cheers, dude. Cal Ohio, did you receive NBC training in the Royal Marines? Yeah, quite a bit. And it's fun and shit at the same time. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as, I mean, what you're practicing for is, in my understanding, when you're, not that I'm a massive look, if you get hit with something like where you need to put a respirator on, like the naughty stuff, then you probably, look, times are bad, aren't there, if that's happening. So, do you know what I mean? It's hit the fan, hasn't it? Let's face it. Training on germ warfare. I don't know what you mean by germ. Don't know. Missing that one, buddy. Leon Todd, could we not get away with our own special operations and take Putin out? I just don't think it's something that would be as easy as anyone would think. I think that would be pretty. Yeah, it's in your thought, in your brain. You're like, yeah, it'd be easy. I don't think it'd be as easy as what you'd think. Right, let's have a look at this. Right, so Military Might Victory Day Parade. Obviously, the difference between this one was Putin was addressing it on a parade. Zelensky, as I was saying before, was addressing the people from the streets. Very different style as it was written about today. I don't think there's going to be much from this. A lot of these dudes look really old in Russia as well, in the military. It's almost like, look at he's a plump-faced guy. He doesn't look like a fighting machine, does he? These are young'uns, young men here. Ukraine on high alert as Russia widens attack. Look at these guys, right? Old as hell. Old. Two young females, youngish, but these dudes are old, man. I think he's got a lot of old leadership who just, quite frankly, are scared to death of him, aren't they, really? You know? Hey Don Backer, how you doing, my friend? You know something? The notification thing's a problem with this. For 186 of you more who are watching this right now, do me a favor, guys. Check your subscription status. Check your notifications. You have to press the notification bell and select it to all. That's what you got to do. And let's see if we can get 300 likes while we're on. Slide up. Do you think NATO operators are currently in Russia? No. No, I think that would. I don't think there would be. I think that's asking for trouble, isn't it? You know. Hey Andrew, good day from San Fran Bay. Let's go. Right, what's happening here? So yeah, Putin talking about World War II and stuff, wasn't he? And all grievances allegedly. What he's just in the past, his brain. And these parades are there to show force, but I just think they're a bit chad now. Oh, look at these! Look what we got. We know what you got. We know what your capability is. We know what you're doing in Ukraine, and you know, in many ways, you're doing well, but you're failing in a lot of ways as well. So, you know, is the parade even relevant? Look at this vehicle, green vehicle with some stuff on the back. Great. And what next? Couple of guys there, tank weapon system looking nice. Just probably is happy that they're not on the front lines getting the arsenals handed to them. You got Phil Mitchell there from EastEnders with his flat cap on there, getting ready to go down the local boozer. Someone with an iPhone behind them taking the picture because they've seen Phil Mitchell, their idol. They've always wanted to see him might even get a sneaky signature off him there. Look at him. Good old Phil, eh? And you've got a couple of generals who's about 350-year-old hanging out. Mental. Look at this. Look at him. He's going to fall asleep, him. Dog tired. But he's a paratrooper. Paratrooper, look at him. Steely-eyed dealer of death and destruction. But he can't stay awake, though. Who's this? Who's this guy here? About 700-year-old. What's going on here? What the hell? There's a lot of old geezers like knocking about. There's Phil Mitchell back again. Phil, Grant will be on soon, won't he? That was terrible, the bombing of that factory or whatever it was. Mental. Let's get back to this camera angle. A few people were asking about that. That was the first company I was assigned to in the Royal Marines. Delta Company, Royal Marines. I do believe Delta Company is no longer a thing now in 40 Commando. Might be wrong. So, got a bit of history there. Rob Brown, why do you think Putin really cancelled the aerial part of the parade? It wasn't due to bad weather. Yeah, that's food for thought, eh? Tank Dog. Yes, the senior officers sitting behind Putin looked like they were pulled out from the nursing home beds and put in uniform. It's true, man. You'd be tired too if you spent many hours dating death as him. Yeah. John, don't be afraid to take the piss out of them. You've got to take the piss, haven't you? Slide up. Do you think Russia will launch an offensive against Finland once they join NATO? No, I don't see that happening. I just think How can they? I don't think they've got the resources to effectively manage operations on a bigger scale. I don't think they've got that within their ability. You know, if you got like America, the command structure, the chain of command is so humongous, but it works. They know how to, you know, organize and utilize entire regions on the planet with massive amounts of military infrastructure and hardware. They can just do it. Tried and tested model, it works. I don't think Russia's got it. I don't think they will get it. You know? Just the way I think, though. Hey, troops, I'm pretty tired, to be fair. What time is it? 20 to 1 in the morning. Been on for about... How long have we been on for? An hour and a half, actually. I think we're going to wrap it up a little bit, unless you've got any dying questions you want to ask. We've been more philosophical tonight, actually. I enjoy them streams. So if you want to actually do anything on mentality and stuff, on that type of thing, I'm more than happy to crack on with it. Troops, if you haven't followed, actually... Oh, no, caliber missiles, that's not the one. Let me get let me get this up for you. 2 seconds. All right, let me get this. No, not that. That's not what I want. This is what I want. Right, just boxing. Right, this channel, I want it. I think I can make it the best boxing channel in Great Britain. That's my aim. Link is in the description. Go follow that. Go subscribe to that. Go watch my latest video on there. I genuinely believe that the first 30 seconds is the greatest start to any podcast, especially boxing podcast in history. There you go. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Let me know what you think, though. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But follow that, guys. Smash the like button. If you've got any dying questions that you want to ask me, get them in. But other than that, if not, I'm going to thin out like a bad hairline. Uncivil disobedience, thank you, great show. Yeah, I wasn't going to live stream tonight. Thought I'd come on. Had a few things on my brain, wanted to chat about anyway. But yeah, troops, I appreciate you all. Sincerely, smash the like button and drop a comment if you want to talk to me. I do reply to comments. That's that, really. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you all. I'll see you very, 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 very soon. Peace.